Good. Have a good day. You're dismissed. Goodbye. Hello. Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. Almost Monday. I'm doing this video because this one slipped past us. It's a little older, but I didn't see anybody do a story on it, and it shows the excessive force that we constantly point out and we constantly are against, and we know for without a shadow of a doubt that they can do better as duly elected, or excuse me, sworn police officers of the state of Arkansas in any other state in the United States under Federal Code 18, knowing that they have civil rights. And you violate those rights, which would be deprivation of rights under the color of law. So when we see these type of videos, we know, well, yeah, he might have made a threat. He might have done something to get arrested. The question is, does it rise to the level of this much violence? It is violence, ladies and gentlemen. Don't kid yourself. And if you're telling me that is a part of their job, yes, it is. If you're telling me that it is automatically invoked because of how the officer feels instead of what the suspect is showing, and if the suspect does not pose a threat, why would 1 out of 3 Arkansas police officers hold him down while the other is punching the guy in the face and kicking him and kneeing him in his side and God knows where? God knows where. But we know this. We're sick of it. And we're going to do videos on it. I don't care how much these people shadow ban me. I have almost got it down where I have about 35% stop cussing. And I can appreciate it for sure. And I know that UT is going to try to continue to shadow ban me. So that's why I'll probably show some things in here that it's the following content may be very graphic or violent imagery. Viewer discretion is advised when I get to the point. So right now, let's just stick to the softer side of things. And at the end, I'll see what's up. And if I want to go there, I will. So 1 of 4 Randall Worchester departs from Crawford County Justice Center in Van Buren, Arkansas on Monday, August 22nd. 3 Arkansas law enforcement officers were suspended after a video of Worchester's, that is the guy who got arrested, showed 2 men beating the suspect while the third was holding him down. Now, let's just show that real quick so you can confirmate what I'm saying. This is straight from the Associated Press. As you see, there's a picture of the brother. All right. And this is, so it was published August 23rd. And this is last year. And it says Mulberry, Arkansas, federal authorities on Monday have started a civil rights investigation of the following suspended of the 3 Arkansas law enforcement officers after the video posted on social media, 2 of them beating the man while the third one held him down to the ground. We know that's not proper policing, ladies and gentlemen. We know this for a fact. The officers responding to the report of a man making threats outside convenience store Sunday in a small town of Mulberry were about 140 miles, 220 kilometers northwest of Little Rock near the border of Oklahoma, authorities said. Arkansas State Police says that the agency would investigate the usual use of force. The state police identified the suspect as Randall Worchester. 27 of Goose Creek, South Carolina. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this story is deep because of the video. The video could say 1,000 to 10,000 words. And when I show you this, you're not going to have a doubt in your mind that it gives birth to people like me and viewers like yourself when we want to hold these moronic, very, very, very hateful, disdainful people that abuse their authority and dishonor the badge in the manners that they do. It is just unreal. It is pathetic. And I say we need to do a hell of a lot more about it. The video recorded nearby yells out to the officer, "Stop hitting the man in the head." The two officers appear to look up and say something back, but the person who yelled, the officer's comment could not be heard clearly on the video. The fight was escalating. Those officers, you hear the woman on the video yelling, "Whoever that is, I think she could have saved his life," said Carrie, an attorney representing Worchester, whatever. He was taken to the hospital and released and booked into the Crawford County Jail in Van Buren of multiple charges, including second-degree battery, resisting arrest, and making terrorist threats. State police said. He was released on a $50,000 bond, and he was asked how he's feeling, and he said, "All right." An attorney who escorted him from the jail declined to comment on his behalf. Worcester was pushing a bicycle as he left the jail. So what I'm going to do is, first and foremost, I'm going to show the YouTube video. And then I got a better video of it. Because they're being
conduct.
They're like really being kind of like soft about this. And YouTube's policy on this stuff is kind of changing by the moment. But here we go. Let's listen to what she has to say.
Shared widely online is raising questions once again about police use of force. 3 law enforcement officers in Arkansas have been removed from duty after bystander video captured 2 of them beating a suspect during an arrest, while the third holds him down.
I'm going to say this right now. If you have sensitive eyes, if you do not like, and if you can't handle, viewer discretion is advised. If there's children watching, do not watch this. There's a lot of violence. You see police violence in this. Please try to refrain from it, as it shows a little part of it. You can listen in, though. Here we go.
Police said the officers were responding to threats made at a convenience store in Mulberry, about 140 miles northwest of Little Rock. Authorities have not suggested that the suspect was armed.
Before we go on, I want to welcome a few people that's in. Jonathan, what's going on? Hello, hello. Renetta Williams, what's up? How you doing? Jet Fuzz Official Music, what's up? What's up? What's up? Appreciate that. Secure Our Rights, what's happening? All right, we're going to get back into the video as more people are coming in, because I haven't even got my notifications yet. I'm sure I will here in a minute.
State police are now conducting an investigation. Now, it's a graphic video, so we're only showing a bit of it. As seen on social media, the 27-year-old man is pinned down, then punched and kneed repeatedly.
Now, what we just seen was like crazy mad, all right? We seen this officer right here punch him twice in the face, and then we seen the guy in the end kneeing him all over his legs, probably his groin area, etc.
Later in the video, his head seemed to be slammed to the ground. The man was taken to a hospital and later arrested. This afternoon, Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson criticized the officer's conduct.
That is reprehensible conduct in which a suspect is beat in that fashion. We saw a glimpse of that. It is under investigation. We don't have all of the details, and certainly that suspect had a history of concern that was legitimate for the officers. But what that response was not consistent with the training that they receive as certified officers with the Arkansas Law Enforcement Training Academy. That will be investigated by the state police.
Some reaction now to this incident and the larger questions around use of force. Alex.
So that was the federal investigator at the Department of Justice making his statement. Here is Alex Petrov, a professor that is a coordinator of the Policing and Social Justice. Let's see what he has to say about it.
Vitale is a professor of sociology and coordinator of the Policing and Social Justice Project at Brooklyn College and the CUNY Graduate Center. He's also the author of The End of Policing. Professor Vitale, welcome to the News Hour. Thanks for being with us. I just want to ask you off the bat, what was your reaction when you first saw this video from Arkansas?
Well, it's obviously a deeply distressing example of police use of force. And on the one hand, it's clearly a very high level of violence for what seems to be an overall not very threatening situation. But on the other,
did you hear what he said? He said a not threatening situation. Did you hear it? That's the professional. Now listen to the cops blame, because he put a but. Anytime you hear but and if behind that, they're going to justify the last statement that they just made. Listen very close. I didn't watch this. You know how I roll. I see a story, I read it, and then I find a video to it and I play it.
On the other hand, it's part of a pattern we've seen of police use of force to manage situations where, in many cases, police just shouldn't be involved in the first place.
Wow, you surprised me.
So based on what you know about police training, and we should say there is a lot we do not know about the circumstances before the video, but given what you know, are there circumstances under which this kind of use of force would be justified?
Well, some of it, perhaps, but then when we see the suspect on his stomach with 3 officers on top of him, and then his...
Let's take a look at that again. Let's take a look at that again. You know what? I'm going to be real. Let's just take a really good look at this, right? And let's listen to the rest of the bull crap that they say, because Wolvie went a little further and found the bigger story. You know how Wolvie is. Once in a while, I get lucky and I do what I got to do, right? So let's look at the bigger picture here. Let's see if sometimes it does justify this behavior.
This is bad. We gotta get out of here.
Oh, they just realized there was a witness. Watch out. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Sorry, my internet's a little slow, guys. Was this justifiable to y'all?
This is bad.
That good?
We gotta get out of here.
I don't blame her for feeling that way, but she probably saved his life. So we'll leave that alone. We'll take that back down because Wolvie knows that they're full of crap because I got the video and rights to it. Anyway, let's go back. Let's go back to the so-called professionals on lamestream media. They're not doing too bad so far, but there are some things that's just crazy wrong.
Head being bashed into the concrete, I think by almost any measure, that's going to turn out to be an excessive use of force. But to use the to use the hand strikes and the kicking is actually a kind of standard trained set of procedures for managing a non-compliant suspect who's
a non-compliant suspect that is a felon that is posing a threat to officer safety and poses a threat to the people around him. The only thing they called, and they did not witness or hear, ladies and gentlemen, was it was said that he made some threats verbally from a distance to other people that are no longer on the scene. So you telling me that this guy, wait until I get the body cams for this if they have them. I'll promise you they got, this is cops. Man, this is cop splaining at its best, and it's obstruction of justice. I'm surprised that we haven't got the videos. I'm surprised they haven't hit YouTube yet. This one snuck in out of the blue, and it don't have that many views, and it's a year old. Why?
resisting arrest.
So videos like this continue to emerge. I can't tell you how many have shown up in my feed over the last several months. It's typically because someone sees it, pulls out their phone, and starts to record. And the worry then becomes how many more incidents like this are not being captured or recorded. Is that a valid worry?
Well, I think we do have more detailed information about police-involved killings when police kill someone. And the sad fact is that there has been no change in that number in the last several years. If anything, the number has gotten greater. So despite several years of demands that police make reforms, reduce the levels of violence, American police continue to kill 3 Americans pretty much every day.
Whoa. Whoa. 3 times 365.
3 times 365 is 1,095.
1,095 people a year they murder. Up to 3 people a day, he said. I think we got a problem. I think we got a problem, ladies and gentlemen. Do we got a problem? George, we got a problem. I think we got a problem. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a lot. That is one too many. It's 1,296 too many. Man. What is going on?
The United States.
What about not lethal killing, though? When we're just talking about excessive use of force, I mean, the other thing I should raise is that body cameras have often come up as an argument that would help to hold police accountable and prevent those kind of excessive uses of force. Have we seen that?
Well, unfortunately, we don't have good data on this. Police have consistently refused to report this data in a way that would allow us to make really good comparisons over time. What I think is pretty clear, though.
What he's saying is police are obstructing justice and not releasing public information to people like him. So then it gives birth to people like me that gets it. that fights them, that goes to their police department and does audits and fronts off other stuff like the blue thin line we see on their wall that is totally against policy, totally against the law here in the state of Michigan, and it's unacceptable, but yet they continue to do it.
Though, is that body cameras have not been the kind of panacea that people thought they would be. Increasingly, we see officers either with their own body cameras or with someone filming them. The officer is clearly aware, as they were in this case, that they were being filmed, and it just doesn't seem to make any difference.
So at the federal level, we should point out President Biden did sign an executive order this spring revising the use of force guidelines, but that's just for federal law enforcement, right? That does not apply to the some 18,000 police departments across America. So when
She is right. That's only a federal thing. He's the executive branch. And in order to make that a law, you would have to pass a federal law mandating states. If they don't follow these laws, then they don't get the funding that comes with it.
comes to revising use of force guidelines, standardizing it in some way, having more accountability, how do you do that across all the nation's police departments?
Well, it's extremely difficult. We have over 18,000 independent law enforcement entities in the United States.
Wow, 18,000, ladies and gentlemen. We have 18,000 independent law enforcement agencies across the United States, okay, that kill 1,995 people a year. He said 3 a day. This is the Department of Justice's Donald Trump's data from the Justice Department. I always tell you what president it was under when it was released from their Justice Department.
It's overwhelmingly under.
Believe it or not, if it wasn't for Donald Trump, we wouldn't have the unredacted memo that was given to federal police to leave us alone because we're allowed to record hallways, corridors, the entrances of federal buildings, and Poster 7. That's why Poster 7 was written after it. And they unredacted it.
Local control. And what we've seen is that even when these local forces do tighten their use of force guidelines, it does not produce the desired results. Minneapolis, in the wake of the Michael Brown killing in Ferguson, Missouri, did tighten up its use of force policies, added body cameras, created de-escalation training for officers, and it just did not matter when it came to the killing of George Floyd.
You mentioned George Floyd, and I think the big question is, if that killing wasn't a transformative moment, then what is? What will it take?
Well, I think there have been some changes in the direction that we were hearing demands for on the streets following.
So far, what he's saying is, he says, I think we made some progress. I think we've seen some changes in the direction that we're hearing demands from the streets follow. So it took them to take control of a precinct, take control of 3 blocks, having a bunch of dope fiends come together and literally make the whole country look like crap, right? Because that's what happened. Let's be truthful. Even though it was a necessary anarchy to get their attention, right? But why can't they just refer back to their training modules that have de-escalation in it? It's in every police department across the thousands of police departments he said that they had.
Following the Minneapolis uprising, and that is a growing number of cities looking at ways of reducing the role of policing by creating new public safety infrastructures. I think there's some evidence in this case in Arkansas that this person was having a mental health crisis, And we know that between 1.25 of all people killed by police in the United States are having a mental health crisis. And so a growing number of cities are creating new non-police crisis response teams that are integrated into 911 systems, and that gives them a better way to respond to these calls that doesn't end up resulting in this kind of high level of use of force.
So, Professor, is there a city you can hold up as sort of an example that provides a blueprint for other police departments?
Well, I think one city that's doing a good job on this specific kind of issue is Denver, Colorado. They recently created what they call the STAR program that utilizes trained mental health and outreach workers to respond to mental health crisis calls,
Yeah, but what we've seen on them is that they're responding to issues in these mental health crisis that they're talking about, and they end up getting killed or held hostage, where the police have to still come and kill both. Sometimes they kill. I heard in one of those they actually killed a first responder and the subject himself because he was that far gone. So I mean, they just need to learn how to take a smack every now and then and de-escalate, and the whole objectivity of what they're doing, tunnel vision, get them in cuffs and get them in the back of the car, right? You don't have to beat the crap out of them. Sometimes things need to happen quick. Quarterback sneak.
homeless person in distress, maybe someone in distress related to a substance use. And this is producing very positive outcomes. The pilot program was so successful that Denver is radically expanding it. And we have new research that shows that there are actually crime reductions in the areas where these teams are operating.
That is Professor Alex Vitale of the Policing and Social Justice Project at Brooklyn College joining us tonight. Thank you for your time.
I don't believe all that, by the way. I don't believe all that.
You're welcome.
If you begin collecting national data on law enforcement officers' use of force in 2019, yeah, I'm sure they did. Whatever. Anyway, again, we're back to square one. I don't know why that disappeared on me, but it did, and it sucks because now I have to go get this. So when we're sitting around, pretending like we didn't hear what we just heard, and then the substance don't match the narrative, what is wrong with that? What happened there, ladies and gentlemen? Honestly, what happened? I just need to know that. What happened? Because I'm gonna finish these stories. I'm gonna finish the story that I was reading. Okay. And then, God, I hate when they do this. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Why can't I get rid of that? Okay, well, whatever. I'll just have to do it this way then. No big deal. All right, so let's just start with all right. Let me read the rest of the AP Associated Press's story on this. The attorneys for the two deputies said on Monday Worchester attacked one of them and the deputies giving him a concussion. The video shows that the officer punched the suspect with a clenched fist while the other one was hitting the man in his knee. The third one was holding him against the pavement. Now, that doesn't look like they're getting control. That looks like a flat out ass whooping. Let's just be clear. Forgive my French. In this video from a car nearby, the officers, to stop someone yells at the officers to stop hitting him in the head, and the two officers appear to look up and say something back to the person who yelled. The officer's comments could not be heard clearly in the video. The fight was escalating with officers, and you heard that woman that on that video yelling, "Whoever that is, I think we could have just saved his life," said Carey, the attorney for the representative. So that's the Worcester is the I don't know, is it Sester or Worcester? Worcester? I butcher names all the time, forgive me. He was taken to the hospital and then released to Crawford Jail in Van Buren and on multiple charges, including second-degree battery, resisting arrest, and making terrorist threats, he said. Worcester was released Monday on a $15,000 bond, was feeling all right. Attorney said escorted him out from the jail, declined to make comment. He was pushing a bicycle as he left the jail. The father declined to comment, contacting him by the Associated Press. He referred to the reporter to a law firm representing the family. The firm said it was still trying to gather information and did not immediately comment to the video. Two Crawford County Sheriff deputies, Mulberry police officers were suspended, and the county authorities said the white is white. Let's see. Worcester is white, according to the jail booking information, and the three officers are appeared to be white. So it's white on white crime. A Justice Department spokesman said that the Attorney General's office, Western District of Arkansas, the FBI Little Rock Field office of the Department of Justice of Civil Rights opened a civil rights investigation into the incident. The FBI. Now, I'm going to stop right there for a second. Okay. This investigation is different from said other investigations, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to tell you why. It's not IA and the local state that presses charges where you see others are indicted right away by the state. It's not the feds. This case might show 242 and 243, Title 18 in the code of literally giving these officers from 1 to life attached to the death penalty. Considering what they find out, if the threat was not heard by the officers, it's hearsay, and it goes into a report, into an investigative report, where he listens to the complainant and then he listens to him. We don't even know why the cops had to go hands-on, because it was over a verbal threat that they didn't hear. Dispatch called them. Just saying. Darrow, they always resort to violence. Yes. Graydon, my wife in the police shooting. Wait a minute. My wife was in a police shooting her first day of work when she worked for DFS and a social worker. Okay, gotcha. No accountability. Yep. That's pretty much, yep, there you go. Same thing, Gloria. Lies. I believe that as well. They lie way too much. That's why we have to use the same rules of evidence, of preponderance of the evidence, as they do against us. What's more likely than not likely, because these guys obstruct justice all day long. Now, back to the reading. I'm going to get back to this. The FBI, according to the state police, will collect available evidence to ensure that the investigation is conducted fairly through the impartial manner of the Justice Department. In a statement, the federal investigation is separate and dependent from the ongoing investigation. See, that's what I'm trying to tell you guys. Crawford County Sheriff Jim Dement said that Worcester was arrested on officer. Wait a minute. Was arrested. An officer asked if he had any weapons on him, and he handed over to the officer. And he handed one over to the officer. Okay. I mean, it didn't specify what the weapon was. So that clearly right there says that he was being cooperative because he handed over a weapon. Strange. They were about to take him into custody because of the part of their investigation on the scene, and that's when he became violent. Oh, so basically what happened is I'm just, look, what's more likely than not likely, I'm thinking that so far we're getting to the point to where he was being cooperative. That proves it because he handed over something. Why would he hand over a weapon if he decided to fight them? Think about it, y'all. So he handed over the weapon, and then the cops started getting smart with him. He was probably telling him, look, I know my rights. You did your Terry frisk. Do your investigation. I'm not saying it happened exactly like that. I'm saying that's how it organically played out. Okay? That's how these things happen. That is what I believe. I know they've been hiding this for a while, Amanda. Anyway, the Crawford County News, the Crawford County Sheriff's Office identified the 3 officers as Crawford County deputies, Zach King and Levi White, and the Mulberry police officer, and Thal Riddle, all Caucasian people, including the suspect. Just to let you know. I hold all my employees accountable for their actions, and I will take the appropriate actions in this matter, Deminit said. In the statement released Sunday, Mulberry said, Police Chief Shannon Gray said that the community and the department take this matter very seriously. See, when the feds are doing an investigation, doesn't matter what their locals. I think what's happening here is the locals just said to hell with it. And they washed their hands of the investigation, and they're going to go ahead and let the feds do their things. That's just my opinion. Governor Hutchinson, a Republican, told the news conference about the Justice Department plans to investigate. He describes the beating as reprehensible conduct, and the officer's actions were not consistent with the teachings of the Arkansas Law Enforcement Training Academy. We've seen that in the beginning of this video. If you haven't seen it, you might want to go back and look at it. Arkansas State Police Colonel Bill Byrant said that the agency's investigation would take some time. Once the facts of the evidence was prepared to the file summary turned over to the prosecutor, Brent said, whatever. However, Russell Wood of Rossville, attorney for the deputies, said in his statement Monday that White was answering a reporter of a terroristic threat when he encountered Worchester, who had said matched the complainant description of the assailant. At first, Worchester gave a White false identity, said. Okay, so he broke the law. Big whippy. That don't mean you hold him down and beat him down, right? Does that sound right to you guys? So they stopped him, they detained him. He was cooperative all the way up until he gave him the weapon, and then he started fighting him. It's just not making sense to me. Not that it can't happen, I'm just saying. It's just not making sense to me. As White was checking the identity, Worchester became irate and attacked the deputy. Yeah, right, I don't believe that. White by grabbing him by the legs and lifting his body up and slamming his head first into the concrete parking lot. Wood said after White hit his head on the concrete, stunning him, Worchester climbed into him and began striking him on the back of the head and face, the attorney said. After Worchester struck him, White said he saw him fight with King and Riddle. Wood said White then re-engaged and the forces necessary to get the violent suspect under control. he demanded. That's not what we've seen in our video. Suffered in concussion, Wood said the attorney called for the release of the full Maryberry police dash cam and video incident that has not received a response yet. Jernigan said that he felt the excessive force was against the suspect in behalf of another client of hers about a month ago. To date, I have heard anything but, to date, I have not heard anything back, but the description that happened to my client on July versus the video seemed almost identical, Jernigan said, and we're just in a position. It doesn't have to even take place yesterday. Cell phone video, often violent police interactions, has put a spotlight on officer conduct of the years, particularly since the killing of George Floyd in 2020 and seeing arrested by the Minneapolis police, resulting in the nationwide protest and the attentions of officers brutally often targets Black Americans. That's a fact. The officer doors of buildings the front door at the building that serves the Mulberry Police Headquarters and the City Hall was locked Monday. A sign-in door directed everyone with questions about the police investigation, contact Arkansas State Police. It was unclear whether officers were wearing body cam. Amid public pressure for transparency, proliferation, like exposing the police misconduct, there has been some pushback against the recording of the officers. That's a judicial suppression called prior restraint, ladies and gentlemen. In July, the governor of Arkansas signed a bill that makes it illegal in knowing the records. Listen, it makes it illegal to knowingly record officers from 8 feet or closer without permission. Wow. Well, what I seen was about 20 feet away, the video I have tonight. So you go back and look at that, it was way more than 8 feet. So that don't even apply, but that's unconstitutional right here. Let's see. Mulberry is a town of 1,600 people in the southern edge of western Arkansas, right interstate, which runs from north to South California, from California to North Carolina, excuse me. Let me repeat that, which runs from California to North Carolina. Something Express, the convenience of the store, filling station where the beating happened. The truck drivers stopped frequently to fuel up. Customers were also buy meals, which include American and Indian cuisine. Morris, a cashier of the County Express, whatever that, what's that say? Country. I don't understand. I'm butchering it. Express said she was working when Worchester was arrested, but she didn't know about it until the customer told her. It's a little unnerving, she said. This story has been corrected and fixed spelling, blah, 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 blah. Associated Press, blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's it. But this is what the dude looks like. There he is. And that's that. So we've seen what we needed to see as far as the officers and the beating. Now I'm going to read some of this and I will go back quiet, but aim with harmony. Let's see. It's becoming uninsurable and they will be forced to change. Yeah, I guess so. Wolvie, when was this? I see nothing in our news about this. Yeah, they always hide this, Amanda. I know because the Crawford County, I have to understand. You have to understand just how bad my state is. Oh, I understand. It's in the Bible Belt. Trust me, I understand. It's bad. They're terrible. I know that most police officers are terrible, but unfortunately, I know we still need them. Actually, they haven't. I just looked it up. It's an older. I remember this case. Very small place. Good old boys. Yeah, you didn't have to tell me because it didn't reach. That video didn't reach enough of us, Amanda. That is why I'm doing it now. It didn't reach the 1A community. Well, it's going to tonight. Wasn't the first time they did this BS. Like, I'm sure it ain't gonna be the last either, because that's how they roll. Tends to happen every day wherever this state. Did you hear what he said? Did you hear the specialist that they had? 3 every day. Police officers are killing people. At the guesstimation. So that's just under 1,100 people a year. That's a lot. Unarmed people. They're killing unarmed people like that. Let alone the ones that they're not killing, that they're beating. And I believe there's a charge of less than the crime of murder. And attempted murder, of course. All right, have a good one. See ya. Just being low down, no accountability. Yeah, that's how it rolls. That's how it goes. Cops are mindless. Yeah, some of them are, most of them are. Yep. I live in Wayne, Arkansas. I know. Oh God, Renetta. I'm sorry. You guys, this is the kind of stuff that I continue and I will always be transparent. And I want to hold these people accountable on my channel. I want people to know, you 3 officers in Arkansas, you're tyrants. You no longer need to be worked as you have sworn an oath to the code of conduct and your, I believe it's your bargaining agreement. As far as I'm concerned, as coming from the public, you're fired. All right. I know I'm nobody, but it is what it is, right? And that's how that rolls. Let's see. Municipalities will become uninsurable, then they will be forced to change the policies. Gotcha. Keeper of the list, Wolby. What up? Gotcha. All right. Well, you guys have a good rest of your night. It's midnight. It's time to go night night for me. But if you have anything you want to say, please come to the comments and tell me what you think. Wolverine's going back quiet reading the mail for show. Good night.